Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Behind the Groove podcast. I am DJ Keo.
And I am Basil Barrington. And today we're going to do something a little different today. So we watched a
Mhm.
movie on Amazon called Memory, and it's pretty good. It's a very recent movie, very good. This guy is this assassin is basically
Mhm.
losing his memory, right? Um,
Yeah.
and so, Keo, you thought that this was an okay movie, but not really because you saw something that was even better and you were like, let's do this, right? So, we watched
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
movie, Memento, right? So, we're not really doing a review today. We're just doing like, not even a comparison either, but just talking
Mhm.
about the concepts and like how this movie evolved and why, when it comes to memory loss movies, this is not the blueprint. I keep saying that. Why
This,
isn't this movie the
this,
blueprint?
this movie sets the standard for anything memory loss related.
Memento,
Because, like,
come on.
so first of all, for anybody who hasn't seen the movie, we're gonna talk spoilers too. But like, for anybody who hasn't seen the movie is told in backwards and forwards, and it's told in black and white and in color. So the black and white is going forward in time and the color is going backwards in time, getting you into the position where everything overlaps and you finally figure out what the hell is going on here.
Yeah.
And his story is being told from Leonard's perspective, and Leonard has he's short-term memory loss. He can't remember anything longer than like 20 minutes or something like that. And so what he does is he's trying to solve the murder of his wife, and so he's trying to get vengeance for that, and he's looking for clues, and once he finds a clue he tattoos it on his body, and it,
Yeah.
it told this
That was
really
wild.
interesting story about how this guy well, I forget, damn it, Sammy Jenkins, that's his name.
Mhm.
And he had some kind of accident or something, and he had memory loss, and so he invented this system of taking Polaroid pictures of stuff, writing names on the back so he can kind of remember where he's at or whatever. And
Mhm.
this is his system, and the system was working. But the clever thing about this movie was he started using his system to make vengeance on other people that he doesn't like,
Right.
which is really the first time I've seen this movie a bunch of times, and the first time I saw this movie, when I say I was floored, like I had to stand up for a second. I was just like, "Yo, what
That
did I
was a
just see
crazy
right
movie.
now?
Dude.
That's that's insane! What I just saw right now." Because
It,
like
it was
the whole movie, you're from his perspective, you're rooting for this guy. You hope he finds the bad guy. You got to get vengeance for his wife and everything like that.
yeah.
And the way he did it was like, oh, this guy he's not the protagonist. He's the villain. That is
I mean,
crazy to me.
not to mention to, have this memory loss and to easily
Mhm.
kill people too. That's kind of weird. Um,
Yeah.
but also fascinating. This movie, I thought that there was like a lot of sensory overload with this movie, almost like Tenet.
Yes.
It was just like, "Ugh," it's just like, what's going on here? And it was just like a lot going on and a whole back and forth. And
Mhm.
and if you think about the movie we saw on Amazon, Memory, where the
Mhm.
assassin had like he was getting, he was suffering through, early stages of what was it? Not
Yeah.
dementia, you know but yeah, he was
Yeah.
just suffering from this stuff here, so he wasn't able to remember who he was supposed to kill, right?
Mhm.
But when you compare this like movie, again, a memory loss movie to
Mhm.
Memento, right? I mean, it seemed
It's
like
like
the
night
director
day.
they didn't even look at that movie. They made this
Yeah.
movie without even looking at that movie. This is the
Because like,
blueprint. If you're going to do a memory loss movie,
mhm.
you have to. This is the blueprint. Memento. Forget
Yeah,
about it.
yeah.
It's nothing else.
It's the standard going forward as far
It's
as,
it.
in
That's
my
it.
opinion, about memory loss,
Yeah.
because it's a what they're doing. If you put the story in order, it's a basic story, straightforward, whatever. But once you flipped it the way they did and told the different elements, you had so much empathy for this guy who's the villain of the movie,
Mm.
and like you really care what happens to him, and you hope he finds out whatever. Like it's so fascinating that just moving little pieces around on the chessboard, you made this thing a different monster than it would have been if it was just going straight forward. Like if everything was on and linear and going in order. And that to me is the most fascinating part of it. That's which makes
Mhm.
this movie so good. Because it's a simple story. Guy has memory loss, looking for the killer, yada yada yada. That's a simple story.
That's it.
But
I
this
thought,
story here,
yeah,
yeah.
completely fascinating. I thought that
Mhm.
um, the exchange, the scene where Lenny and Natalie, they were going back and forth. She came into the door like, hey, kill
Yes.
this guy, right? But
Mhm.
she was using him as well. She was like, oh, you know what? I can get this guy. I can use his memory loss against him to work for me. It'll benefit me.
Yeah.
Because he was like, I
That's such a
mean, when
crazy
it first
scene.
started out, I was like, oh, someone beat her up. And then come to find
Mhm.
out, he like, lumped her up,
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
she went out to the
It's such a
car.
crazy thing.
She went out to the car
She
and she was like, you know what? I'm going to use this against him. Came in, was
she's
like,
like,
he hurt
yeah, she
me.
told
I was just like,
I'm gonna
dude.
tell you this, and I'm gonna
Mhm.
make you do it. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yep.
That was
Oh,
crazy to me.
man, that was like crazy. I was like, dude, this is like, was that her first film?
No. Carrie-Anne Moss was in a bunch of stuff before that. I
Okay,
think this came
before
out.
that.
This is the same time as Matrix. I think it was the same year.
Okay, so she was hot that year. Okay, she was, she
Mm,
was popping, she was bubbling. Yeah, so that whole
yeah.
scene right there, I was like, wow, wait a minute. And then, here's the
Mhm.
thing, right? They chopped up that this was like maybe a 5 to 7 minute scene, maybe 10 minutes. In a way,
Yeah.
they just gave you all of this sensory overload in like 5 or 10 minutes with all these different scenes, and then
Mhm.
came back around and just told you like, well, this is actually what really happened. And then
Mhm.
you figured out that Natalie is actually using him as well. And I was like, oh my
Yeah.
goodness, this is
Yeah.
crazy, dude. What is this
Everybody's
all
using each
about?
other. Yeah, everybody's using each other. They're all bad people
Right,
across the board. Because Natalie was dating the drug dealer guy
right.
that's where he got the car from.
Mhm.
That's why she thought it was him. And the first time I watched the movie, I couldn't figure out why she thought that guy. She knew that guy, and then got to the end. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But like, so Natalie was using that guy because the drug dealer dude. The cop Teddy, which is not his real name,
Right.
was using him for just because out of sheer boredom. He's like, I'm gonna have some fun with this guy.
That's it.
We're gonna go
You
around
know.
and do stuff, make him do things so you can tap dance for me.
But did
And
he
then
kill Teddy or he did not kill Teddy?
no, he killed Teddy. He
Yeah.
killed Teddy at the end of the movie. He
Mhm.
killed Teddy, but like Teddy, what Teddy should have done was, all right, hey, I had my fun, yada yada. We got the guy. Okay, cool. Let me go on with my life. But he couldn't help himself. He kept using him and messing around with him just for jokes because he know who the car belonged to. But he's like, "Where do you get the car from?" And he's asking him stuff,
Yeah.
and he knew the money was in the trunk too the whole time. He just let it
Right.
happen. So
But
like Teddy got his comeuppance.
but throughout the movie, you would think that
Mhm.
Teddy really wasn't a cop. Like he was just like, you know, he was John G, basically the true
Yeah,
John G.
yeah,
But it was like, oh, okay, so he's like just wasting any John G he finds, and I'm just like, okay, this is kind of interesting here.
yeah,
And, you
yeah.
know, if Teddy is truly a cop and, Leonard is just out here killing people, it's just like, dude, where's your integrity as a cop? It's just like, what's going on?
He's
So
bored because like it's a
this was
fascinating story with
fascinating.
this guy because he has
Yeah.
a short term memory. Every time he meets you, he doesn't know who you are. I can see why somebody could be bored and like I'm gonna play with this guy right now. Like
Yeah.
remember when they were in a bar and they all spit in the cup and they
Yeah.
made him spit in the cup and he made him drink it
Yeah.
just to see,
See, that was,
just
I
to
was just
see.
like, oh my goodness, that was like so gross. And that was when Natalie, again, she was
Yeah,
just picking up,
she's
like,
just
I'm going to
effing with
use
him.
this guy. She was like, I'm going to use this
Mhm,
guy. This guy is going to be able to benefit me. And she just kept finding out, kept finding out, kept poking.
mhm,
Let me
mhm,
ask you this here. What
mhm.
did, again, we're saying that if you're going to do a memory loss movie,
Yeah, it's the
Memento
standard. This is
is
the
the
gold
blueprint.
standard right now. Yeah.
What did memory get wrong based on the blueprint they should have, they should have looked at? What did they get
Oh,
wrong?
that's a good point. I didn't really have any empathy for Liam Neeson's character in Memory. Like he was just there. I
Yeah.
like they tried to make it this. That's what they brought the story with the kid in there because he's like trying to be he's the hitman with the heart of gold kind of thing. But like
Mhm.
I just didn't feel anything about what he was doing or what was going on with his life. And that's why they brought his brother in there too. Like it didn't add to anything of why I cared about. Like the way that Christopher Nolan did a Memento with the Teddy storyline and the seeing his wife's killer or whatever, like you cared about him, like you wanted him to win and succeed and get this thing over with. Whereas Liam Neeson's character, I was just like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
You're starting to lose your memory. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Like you know what I'm saying? Like it should have been like, well, I'm doing this one last job so I can pay for somebody. Like have you seen the movie The Killers? It's
No.
a John
Maybe.
Woo movie.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a
I
it's an
think I
old movie
did.
from like the 80s.
Yeah, I think I did.
And so like he's a hitman and he accidentally blinds this girl and she's like a singer at a bar. And so he was trying to do some more jobs to get a retina surgery for her. So now you cared about him because he's trying to do the right thing and it connected him to something else. Whereas Liam Neeson's character, I just didn't care about anything about
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
He's like I like Liam Neeson, but I
I
didn't
like him
care.
too. I think this wasn't really a a memory loss movie. I think that Liam, I think he's typecast. It's just like, oh, this is another Taken, but in a totally different shape. You
Yeah.
know, it's just like it
Yes.
felt like one of those movies. He's just like Swiss
Mhm.
cheesing. I mean, this is the first time in any of these sort of movies since he's been typecast that he was killed. Um,
Yeah,
well, he
that's true.
died, but still, it felt like one of those. He has another movie that's
Mhm.
out as well on what is it on Amazon, where he's like some sort of a FBI cleanup man, So
Mhm.
again, it's sort of like Taken. You're still Swiss cheesing
It's literally
people,
the same thing.
right?
He's
So
taking the CIA agent too. So
so maybe that was it. Maybe this wasn't really a movie based on memory loss. It was just another Taken, but just told in a totally different way, you know. Because
yeah.
Memento was not written on this movie at all. There was nothing about
Mm-mm.
Memento on this movie at all.
Mhm.
Again, if you're gonna do a memory loss movie, and
That's the
imagine if you
standard.
take the same concept,
Mhm.
the blueprint, the gold
Mhm.
standard, and you take that and you make it into some sort of an animated series. Forget about it. It's over. You know, there was a lot of, like I said, man, it was just this movie, it was throwing stuff at me like this, right? All the
Oh, for
time throughout
sure.
the entire movie. It was just like the way they were like just whipping up these 5 and 10 minute scenes with
Mhm.
like so much like B-roll and all this other stuff. I'm just like, what dude,
Yeah.
what is up with this? You know?
Yeah, like he did a lot of exposition when he's doing the phone call,
Hmm.
and you find out like that he can't be on the phone. He can't remember who he's talking
Right.
to.
Hmm.
Like all that stuff was really cool.
Yeah.
Like there's so many aspects of this thing that's interesting because like he's using tricks to move the story along, and basic things to help tell you what's happening, whatever, fill you in, but just enough until the next scene when it starts a little bit further back so you can figure out what happened. All of that's great. It's grade A stuff. I'm a huge fan of Christopher Nolan, and I like all his movies. And
I was about to say, this is
this
the
is one of
Nolan
his
brothers,
best
right?
ones. Yeah, yeah. This
The
is one of his
Nolan
best ones.
brothers, man. Wow. So, and I've seen some of their
Mhm.
movies, and I'm just like, okay, these guys have like some really serious attention to details here. I mean, if you look at a
Yeah,
lot of their
yeah,
movies, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. All their movies, there's some kind of, I would say like an M Night Shyamalan twist or whatever, but like there's something that's more compelling about this thing. Like Tenet's a good example of that. Insomnia was a good example of that.
Yeah,
Even
that was pretty
Dark
good.
Knight,
Yeah.
Interstellar,
Mhm.
is
That
another
was
thing.
that
Like,
was Interstellar was really
yeah,
good.
they got a lot
Mhm.
of W's under their belt for
Yeah.
movies.
No, no,
Honestly,
no L's really, right? No L's.
no, not in my opinion.
Yeah,
And some
yeah,
people are like they don't like it, but like in my opinion, he's only had W's. He's solid movies,
yeah, yeah.
top shelf.
Have you seen a memory loss movie that is closely or that closely resembles Memento?
No, I think this is the first movie I saw like that. That's why it was
Really?
so fascinating to me.
Mm.
It's like
So
I'm telling you, the first time I watched this, I stood up and I was looking around to see like what is happening right now.
yeah. Mhm.
That's
So
very rare for me.
there hasn't been anything made like in this space when it comes to like a
Well, no,
true memory
I'm pretty
loss
sure
movie.
I'm pretty sure they had a
Mhm.
memory loss movies, but not like this.
Right.
Because this is unique. Doing a memory loss movie where everybody's in the dark along with the character is interesting. And yeah, like you're only getting the snippets as far as he gets snippets, and you don't really understand what's happening until the you overlap with the black and white and the color.
Right. I
But yeah,
also think
it's a
that
great concept.
we, we may not have seen anything or heard about anything like that on a
Mhm,
major sort of level, or with any sort of major marketing, is because
mhm.
a memory loss movie is kind of boring. I mean, it's just like you
Yeah.
can only do but so much with that sort of subject, right? Just like memory loss. It's a memory loss movie. Okay, what are
Mhm,
we going to do? Can you do
mhm.
something like a Memento, right? And the answer is probably no, because that was just something new and fresh. You can't really mimic that now, right? You can't really
Mhm.
duplicate that. So when you talk about like maybe creating a memory loss movie on that scale, it's
That's
just
hard
like
to do.
it's hard
Cause
to do because it's a memory
yeah.
loss movie. That's not a great or, exciting
Mhm.
story right there, right?
Yeah, because I saw this great video. Christopher Nolan was explaining how the movie works, and
Hmm.
so he had like a basically like a U, and he's showing that the movie's going forward up in the what color or black and white is going forward, and then color is going backwards the other way. And so he had like he showed it on a chalkboard and explained there's like parts of the movie and it's good alternating between the two, and it makes more sense about what his concept was, and something like it's a simple storyline, but the way he cut it up made
Yeah.
it so complex and interesting.
Yep.
Because like you could have just if you cut the wrong area, you would have wrecked the movie. And they cut the scenes perfectly so that every scene that happened that pushed the story along, you want to know what's going to happen next. Like, there wasn't a moment where you're like, okay, well this was going to happen. Okay, I get it. Like you had no idea that this guy was the villain until the very end of the movie.
You said something very interesting, because I was about to say this and you just jarred my memory. You were like, the way he cut it up. When I was watching this movie, I was like, damn, this guy's like a producer. He's like, he has an NPC. He's like just throwing samples in that
yeah,
joint. And I'm like, yo, the
yeah,
way,
he's
like
coming up
you said,
samples.
the way he was
Yeah.
just like chopping that joint up, I was like, man, he's a great sampler. I mean,
Mhm,
if he were a producer, it's just
mhm.
like that. He was just throwing like little snippets right here, like a
Yeah,
snippet
just a
right
little
there,
bit. Yeah.
you know just like, and
Mhm,
just again a sampling,
mhm.
cutting the whole joint up. So they
That's a good
probably,
analogy. It's like sampling.
yeah, he so they and think about this, right? So
Mhm,
they recorded the movie straight, like, okay, bing, here's the movie, here are all the scenes. Once
mhm.
everything was like done, then they started sampling, then they started cutting. I
Yeah,
mean,
just
they
working it out.
didn't shoot the scenes like, okay, let's shoot the
Mhm,
scene, okay, here we go, like the Natalie and and Lenny scene, like you said, that was just a straight shot, and then he just started chopping, sampling. I was just like, man, this guy's a
yeah,
sampler,
yeah.
he's a producer.
Yeah, well, Quentin Tarantino makes movies like that because he doesn't tell things in order.
Yeah.
Usually, like, it's all like, Pulp Fiction was out of order,
Yeah.
and a lot of stuff happened at the end and the beginning, and you have no idea what's really happening, especially Bruce Willis stuff. But, like, you know, I like I think Quentin Tarantino and probably Christopher Nolan have done it the best of not telling a story, a linear story, and just jumping things around, but putting it in
Yeah,
a good place.
that's
Because
true.
Quentin's the best at moving parts around to different place so that you care about what's happening, even though this is the ending that you just saw, but you don't know it's the ending yet until it gets here, and everything's just fascinating. Like Pulp Fiction, I have to see that movie like 20, 30 times,
Yeah, that's
and
pretty good.
that's a fire way to tell stories. But like, I know people hate it because it's kind of like a gimmick thing, but
And
if you're
confusing too
good
to
at
some,
it,
right?
yeah. But if you're good at it, like there's only people that good storytellers can pull something off
Yeah.
like that. You can't if your script is garbage, you cannot move things around and save your script. Like
Mm.
that's it's a trash script still,
But
and this is it.
sometimes I've noticed that Quentin, his that sort of style can be a little
Mhm.
chaotic too on his, when he does it sometimes,
Alright,
But
he does it like that to torment he said it in an interview.
yeah,
He likes tormenting the viewers just to make them frustrated
yeah.
when they're watching his
Okay,
movie.
that's why I don't
I'm
watch
like,
a
that
lot of
guy's
his
a
stuff
beast right
then.
there.
Okay, so there we go. You don't have my money now, but the Nolan brothers, I like, again, Memento was pretty cool. Yeah, I'm not even gonna put Memory in the memory loss movie category, because It
We didn't
wasn't
really
even there.
dwell on it that much. Like it should
Yeah.
have been more of a focal point of the story,
Yeah,
but
no,
it was still
it
good.
wasn't. No, it was a memory loss. So, but still a good movie,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like this movie, man. Very old movie. Back then it was like a 2 hour movie, you know. So it was just like I watched it
Yeah.
like over 2 days because it was. I watched Tenet over 2 days. This like the sense, like I said,
Mhm.
the sensory overload that was like too much. You know, I was just like, okay, I'm not.
All
This is
right.
I'm just trying to
Tenet.
chill tonight. You
The
know, I'm not trying to get crazy.
Yeah, the first time I watched Tenet, I was like, I kind of understand what happened. It was
Yeah,
like the second time I watched it, I was like, holy crap, this is a great movie. And like the
that's
third, fourth time, like I was like, I really got to enjoy what was going on. But
yeah.
like when I was in the theater, there was no subtitles. It was just the loud
Uh,
noises, and you're like, you got to figure it out on
imagine.
your own.
So when they released Tenet, it was during the pandemic, during a lockdown, and
Mhm.
they
Yeah,
immediately
I watched
took
it in
that.
the theater.
They immediately took that out of the theaters and put it on HBO Max. Like, you know, and I
Mhm.
guess someone may have said, "Well, you really need subtitles for for this movie, dude." You know,
But
just like what's going
it was
on?
designed to be like that because it's supposed to be disorienting that you're watching the thing go backwards.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be because you're from your perspective, it's supposed to be disorienting.
I'm not even gonna
And
front. I was like disoriented like the first time I watched it. Not even fronting, dude. And I really didn't get it until watching it like the second time.
you have to it's a movie you have to watch twice. But like see, when you make
Yeah.
that argument, some people are like, well, that's not a good movie then. I should just have to watch it once and then it's a good movie. But like
No.
I think that with Tenet, there's so many subtle little things that happen
Oh yeah.
that
Hmm.
you're not going to notice it the first time. You're just because you're like you're focused on certain parts of the movie screen, and then the second time you watch it, like, oh, okay, that's what's going. Like the colors is a good example. With the blue is a green, no, it's blue and red. So red was going backwards in time, blue was going forward in time,
Yeah, man. It
and
was
you don't
crazy.
notice that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That was crazy, man. So yeah, I love these sort of again these sensory overloads type of films. You know, I like that. But it
Mhm.
just may take me a little time. You know, I may have to watch a 2 hour movie like over 2 days
Mhm.
because you know, that's a lot to be on a dome like at once, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, but yeah, man, you know, Memento was a great movie. I like the whole concept. I have not seen anything close to Memento, but
Yeah.
um, and like I said, I think I know why because you know, making a movie about memory loss, it's either going to be a serious drama, right? Who
Mhm.
wants to see that? That's sad,
Mhm.
and it's not going to be anything like Memento. It's just we've seen the last
Yeah.
Memento, the first and last. That's it. No one's making a movie like that.
I'm okay with that. I don't need to
Yeah,
see 50 copies of one movie.
yeah, that's
Like,
it.
this is what happened with Pulp Fiction. Once it came out, everyone's trying to make a movie like that. Like, no, dude, just one. That's all we need. Be creative and make something different. That's what I
Yeah.
want.
If you want to, but let's zip this up. If you want
Mhm.
to check out a great film, and this film was like, what's this was like 2001.
It's
This came out,
2000.
right?
In
2000.
2000.
Okay, a
Yeah.
great film. I never you know watched this film at all until you know you told me about it.
Mhm.
Memento. I saw it on HBO Max. Wow, this thing is get ready because this is a really good film. A
Mhm.
little disturbing, kind of fun
Yeah, a little
too.
bit.
It's a little fun
Yeah.
too, but not like fun. Um,
Mhm.
and it's just like the storytelling was man, the Nolan brothers like killed this movie, dude. This movie like was
Yeah.
dope for real.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it, another episode of the Behind the Groove podcast. I am Basil Barrington.
I am DJ Keo.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And until next time, peace.
All right.